Good day, everyone. I am a Precious Dulahiray, third year college student taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Mathematics. So for today's video, I am going to discuss the Module 8 of our subject Principles and Strategies in Teaching Mathematics entitled Flipping the Classroom. Students and teachers are now facing the new normal kind of education, the blended learning. Blended learning combines classroom learning with online learning. There are various levels to which a blended learning approach can be taken. The flipped classroom is one approach which requires students to watch videos explaining concepts before they come to class. Traditional lectures are then transformed into interactive problem-solving sessions. Additionally, this modality is creating a community of practice nowadays. Math classes also previously relied on skill building and conceptual understanding activities. Today, teachers are realizing that writing during a math lesson is more than just a way to document information. It is a way to deepen student learning and a tool for helping students gain new perspectives. In the process of writing, students clarify their own understanding of mathematics and hone their communication skills. They must organize their ideas and thoughts more logically and structure their conclusion in a more coherent way. So, in this module, we will discuss how educators can engage students in both face to face learning and online learning. As components of blended learning, we will also go through the different writing to learn strategies. These are all essential concepts as it will help us learn how it will facilitate the teaching and learning process in mathematics education. Blended learning is a style of education in which students learn via electronic and online media as well as traditional face-to-face learning. A combination of two models. We all know the first one, a standard classroom atmosphere that has a teacher, students, and a blackboard. The instructor ultimately provides materials and leadership training. It is a conventional model that has been in use for a long time. And when the internet is paired with the first paradigm, mixed learning occurs. And some things change that. Students now can access material online, which suggests that they no longer need to be in school to access instruction or actually work with a teacher. They can study at home now or in a store. They can access more content wherever they are as long as they have an internet connection. Statistically, blended learning classes achieve better outcomes than face to face. This may be partially due to the fact that not only does this rapidly increasing model improve the versatility and individualization of learning experience for students, but it also encourages teachers to extend their time as learning facilitators. So there are six models of blended learning. The first one is face-to-face driver model. Of all the blended learning models, face-to-face driver is the closest to a typical school structure. With this approach, the introduction of online instruction is decided on a case-by-case basis, meaning only certain students in a given class will participate in any form of blended learning. The face-to-face driver approach allows students who are struggling or working above their grade level to progress at their own pace using technology in the classroom. So the second model of blended learning is rotation model. In this form of blended learning, students rotate between different stations on a fixed schedule, either working online or spending face-to-face time with a teacher. The rotational model is more widely used in elementary schools. The rotational model of blended learning was determined to be an effective means of increasing the achievement of students. Students rotated between learning labs where they use intelligent adaptive learning software to learn math concepts and a traditional classroom. The result, students become more active learners and often challenge themselves to work harder and learn material that had not yet been introduced in their math classroom. The third model of blended learning is flex model. Schools that are supporting a large number of non-traditional or at-risk students often choose the flex model of blended learning. With this approach, material is primarily delivered online. Although teachers are in the room to provide on-site support as needed, learning is primarily self-guided, as students independently learn and practice new concepts in a digital environment. So next model is online lab model. This model, blended learning, is a viable option for helping students complete courses, including those not offered at the specific school site. In this scenario, students learn entirely online but travel to a dedicated computer lab to complete their coursework. Adults supervise the lab, but they are not trained teachers. This not only allows schools to offer courses for which they have no teacher or not enough teachers, but also allows students to work at a pace and in a subject area that suits them without affecting the learning environment. The next model is self-blend model. It is popular in high schools. The self-blend model of blended learning gives students the opportunity to take classes beyond what is already offered at their school. While these individuals will attend a traditional school environment, they can also supplement their learning through online courses offered remotely. So the last model of blended learning is online driver model. At the opposite end of the spectrum from face-to-face driver, we have online driver, which is a form of blended learning in which students work remotely and material is primarily delivered via an online platform. Although face-to-face check-ins is optional, students can usually chat with teachers online if they have questions. This model of blended learning is ideal for students who need more flexibility and independence in their daily schedules. So now, let's discuss blended learning classroom in mathematics. Recent trends in education show that digital platforms are playing a vital role in enhancing teaching, learning, and research. In mathematics education, many mathematicians acknowledge the value and importance of a blended learning approach in teaching mathematics, taking advantage of the different mathematical software that can be used in teaching. Blended and flipped learning places the obligation on students to engage with online materials and encourages students to take ownership of their learning. So to be successful, the model requires students to develop the skills to self-regulate their own performance and become aware of the gaps in their understanding of complex conceptual tasks. Thus, the designer of online learning resources has a responsibility to produce components that promote self-directed or self-regulated learning. So this model of learning may or may not be achievable for weak students who lack prerequisite skills, an issue that has occupied mathematics educators for some time. There are ranges of opportunities and implications afforded by the use of digital technologies that extend beyond the nature of the tools and software apps utilized, to the learning intention of the teacher and the ways in which students interact with the technologies and with each other. Each of these implications creates opportunities to influence the teaching practice in mathematics classrooms. Digital devices provide tools that are dynamic, graphical, and interactive, providing students with opportunities to explore mathematical objects from different but interlinked perspectives, where the relationships that are case for mathematical understanding are highlighted, made more tangible. Students can make practical use of technology in mathematics for genuine and productive purposes. Integrating blended learning effectively into mathematics teaching and learning is a complex task requiring the consideration of many elements, including content and student learning. Uses of blended learning in mathematics can be ineffective, distracting, or even dangerous when not integrated into the learning process in meaningful ways. But online learning environments provide affordances that could allow mathematics teachers to redefine practices as they currently occur in mathematics classroom. At its most basic, the blended classroom approach is intended to make better use of classroom time. Rather than expose students to new materials within mathematics lessons, students are expected to access pre-prepared materials before their lessons. The blended learning approach includes variations that range from the simple provision of direct instruction by the use of video lectures, through to an approach where learning can be individualized according to the student needs. Prepared lesson materials can range from teacher-produced videos and screencasts to the provision of mathematics resources produced with software such as GeoGebra and the use of instructional videos created by others such as Khan Academy and YouTube. While flipped and blended learning approaches provide students with the opportunity to access mathematics content outside of school, it could be argued that traditional textbooks do the same. However, the affordances of digital technology can promote higher levels of interaction, more personalized approach, and more detailed feedback. Student learning experience in mathematics can be enhanced through a variety of blended learning approaches by allowing for diverse points of access to learning opportunities which are more closely aligned to individual learning needs. Although some viewed the use of blended learning instruction as an educational imperative, there were still many questions regarding how and when it should be used, and whether its use transform and improve students' experience of mathematics education. The COVID-19 pandemic we're facing right now forced many teachers across the globe to make a sudden switch from face-to-face to online teaching. This shift in practice has provided an opportunity to reconsider how technology use in mathematics education can be utilized to improve student engagement. The educational crisis caused by the COVID-19 resulted in teachers being forced to rely on blended instruction as a prime teaching and learning resource regardless of their existing technology-related beliefs and practices. This forced and sudden change could be viewed as an opportunity for significant shifts to occur in how mathematics educators use technology in future face-to-face, online, and blended classroom teaching. Writing is critical to every single subject. Even mathematics often calls for argumentation in written form, especially in disciplines such as statistics. A writing to learn strategy is one that teachers employ throughout and or at the end of a lesson to engage students and develop big ideas and concepts. It fosters critical thinking, requiring analysis, application, and other higher level thinking skills. It is writing uses impromptu, short, or informal writing tasks designed by the teacher and included throughout the lesson to help students think through key concepts and ideas. Attention is focused on ideas rather than the correctness of style, grammar, or spelling. It is less structured than disciplinary writing. This approach frequently uses journals, logs, microthemes, responses to written or oral questions, summaries, free writing, notes, and other writing assignments that align to learning ideas and concepts. Learning mathematics is much more complex than memorizing sets of facts and examples. In order to develop new and improve conceptual frameworks, students must be given the opportunity to process their ideas before, during, and after new learning takes place. This can be done orally, mentally, or in writing. Teachers often find it difficult to integrate writing and mathematics while honoring the integrity of both disciplines. Teachers of writing might say that if students are assigned to describe the process they use in solving a problem with no revision or editing, the quality of integration is drawn into question. Teachers of mathematics might say that if students are asked to write a report on a famous mathematician, they may not be engaged in developing mathematical reasoning no matter how many drafts they write. Although the appropriate balance may be elusive, the endeavor is nevertheless worthy of being undertaken. In addition, it is important for all mathematicians to be able to write clearly and effectively. Not only do they have to keep complete records of their ideas and work, but they also have to be able to effectively communicate their findings to worldwide audiences. Sometimes, they are also expected to write grant applications and share their findings with these people outside the mathematical community. Teaching students to write well must be a part of any comprehensive mathematics program. Strategies that require students to demonstrate their knowledge of mathematics also provide opportunities to practice writing for authentic audiences. In order for writing in mathematics to impact students' learning, it must be more than just copying the notes given in class. Information must be personalized in some way. Students must be expected to include reflections and questions when they write. By making these personal connections, students will begin to develop a conceptual understanding of the mathematics they are exploring in their study. So now I am going to discuss the different writing to learn strategies. The first one is descriptive writing. Descriptive writing is, as you may guess, when the author describes something. The writer could be describing a place, person, or an object. But it'll always include lots of details so that the reader can get a clear and complete idea of what is being written about. It can be poetic when the author takes the time to be very specific in his or her descriptions. One way in mathematical descriptive writing is to write detailed description of a mathematical model so that someone else can recreate it. Next is expository writing. Expository writing, as the title suggests, it is predicted on exposition, or the description and explanation of a particular idea. Topics cover pretty much the entire amount of human experience, from inventions to nature, emotions to politics, family to hobbies, and more. It is basically giving facts from the writer to the reader. The importance of communicating mathematics clearly and effectively is evident in the many ways in which mathematicians must write, whether to produce technical reports, expository articles, book reviews, essays, and etc. Next is cause and effect writing. It is often considered human nature to ask why and how. We want to know how our child got sick so we can better prevent it from happening in the future, or we want to know how much money we will save over the long term if we buy a hybrid car. These examples identify only a few of the relationships we think about in our lives, but each shows the importance of understanding cause and effect. Generally, this type of essay discusses both causes and effects, but it also present only either one of the two. Moreover, a cause and effect essay in mathematics may involve the usage of specific data and formulas in order to present a clear conclusion. It can be stated that an effective essay in mathematics is based on precise data and analysis that allows making logical and clear argumentations. Example of this is writing a cause and effect relationship between high wages and inflation. Next is persuasive writing. Persuasive writing is a form of nonfiction writing that encourages careful word choice, the development of logical arguments, and a cohesive summary. Note that there are two main components of persuasive writing. The first one is logic, and the second one is emotional appeal. Logic comes first in persuasive writing. In order to have any chance of convincing people, students have to develop a sound premise. One way in mathematical persuasive writing is to write a persuasive essay about the importance of mathematics in our lives. The last writing to learn strategy is narrative writing. Narrative writing is defined as writing that is characterized by a main character in a setting who engages with a problem or event in a significant way. Writers who use the narrative style are telling a story with a plot and characters. One way of accomplishing a mathematical narrative essay is to relate the story of the evolution of the abacus through ancient, middle, and modern times. Many mathematics educators feel that students should have already know how to write effectively when they come to their classrooms. This is not usually the case, however. Students have learned to write from their English language art teachers, but they usually do not know how to apply these skills to mathematics. Mathematics teacher will find that they may have to explicitly teach and provide the scaffolding for each of these strategies before their students will be able to implement writing in mathematics. So, in response to the need of students to learn content using a variety of strategies and their need to practice writing in a variety of contexts, the following are samples of the different writing to learn strategies.